Well, hello and welcome to Outdoor Oklahoma. I'm Todd Craighead. When it comes to wetland management, it kind of reminds me of the movie, quote, "If you build it, they will come." Right now, this may not look like a waterfowl paradise, but trust me when I say that it soon will be. Biologists are spraying and seeding these wetland units so that when the birds do migrate down here in the winter, well, they'll be welcomed by the best habitat there is. When it comes to really any type of wildlife habitat management, it takes a lot of planning and effort ahead of time. And the fruits of these folks' labor won't be realized until this winter, when these units are full of ducks and geese and the parking areas are full of happy hunters. Some of the most knowledgeable and hardest working habitat managers in the country. Just another reason to love Oklahoma and the adventures that await you.
Every August and October, the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation surveys for quail. We do that by doing a 20-mile route in 75 of our 77 counties. The only two that we don't do are Oklahoma and Tulsa County. These surveys help to give us an idea of nest success and then recruitment into the fall for our hunting season numbers. Good morning. We're out here about 6:30 in the morning, just before sunrise. We get out here a little bit early so that we can take the weather parameters. We can monitor our wind level. We can look at our dew level on the grass, our temperatures, so that we can get an idea of the weather parameters of what's going on out here. And then we'll also do that at the end of the survey so that we can have an idea of, did the weather change, and that might have impacted our ability to see birds. So here on one of our roadside surveys, they're about 20 miles long. This one was actually extended for a research project with Iowa State, so the one we're on is 25 miles. But as we're cruising along, we're primarily looking for quail, but pheasant as well. And then rabbits are also surveyed on this. But really, we're kind of getting an idea of any type of wildlife that are on the route, because seeing one type of wildlife might key us in to start looking for another type or anything like that. So really just kind of keeping our eyes peeled as we go along to see what is out here and what's around. And then on our survey form, we kind of write what all we see and hear and anything like that as we go along. These surveys may seem a little pointless to some, but they do give us a little bit of an insight into what quail numbers are doing. They don't give us the full picture, but they're one of the tools that we can use to help paint that picture, to help put some numbers together for our hunters as we get closer into fall, as well as helping scientists and biologists and technicians keep track of populations around the state. Well, that marks an end to our 25-mile route here on our August roadside survey. These surveys are one of the tools that we use to help monitor our populations of quail and other species that are using these areas. We'll be doing these surveys again in October, and then we'll be repeating this process again next year. Today was pretty successful. I'm pretty pleased. We saw a lot of pheasant, we saw a few quail, we saw plenty of dove and deer and raccoons and coyotes and other wildlife. So it was a very successful day out here doing a roadside survey. So I'm glad you guys could join along, and hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I did.
Are you in? All right.
Oklahoma is actually sort of a best kept secret of duck hunting in a lot of cases. There's about 14,000 people that duck hunt in Oklahoma in a given year. Our goal is to put habitat on the ground for waterfowl. And so what we do is we'll take a philanthropic dollar, a gift from a supporter of DEU, and we'll leverage it with partners like the ODWC and the NRCS and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and various other foundations and agencies, so that $1 becomes matched 4 or 5 times through partnership efforts. And that way, things that ODWC can't afford to get done or NRCS doesn't have the manpower expertise to get done, we can all work together to accomplish for the resource what we need to get done to ensure that the wetlands are here and they're healthy and they're offering what the waterfowl need when they come through.
To me, I think the biggest thrill I get out of duck hunting is just knowing that we are here in Oklahoma particularly providing that needed habitat for that migration as they move north and south during migration periods. I just like being out. I don't have to shoot a duck to have a good duck hunt. Seeing all the wildlife out there early in the morning in the shallow water habitat, which is much more diverse than open water, and that's to me the biggest thrill of the duck hunt. The purpose of the Wetland Reserve Program in Oklahoma began in 1996, and it was to restore the functions and values of former wetlands that have been degraded, restore that hydrology to provide that wetland habitat again, and to provide habitat for migratory species and locally dependent species.
Good shot.
Hunting with ODWC and NRCS staff this morning was awesome. It's a very fitting sort of representation of the partnership that we've had for a lot of years in accomplishing good things for the resource. And it was really nice to be able to reap the benefits of some of those accomplishments this morning. Pretty good morning, huh, guys?
Excellent. It was. So what did you think of your first duck hunt here in Oklahoma?
I thought it was pretty good. It's a beautiful sunrise and decent duck action. And
We saw some ducks. We didn't actually shoot all of them that we could have, but you know, that's
right.
good enough too. But you know, we definitely appreciate you coming in, and boy,
Absolutely.
we hope that we see you again here.
oh, definitely. Anytime you invite me back.
And guys, we really appreciate the partnership that we have with both organizations.
Absolutely.
It
As
helps
do we.
us to do what we can for the sportsmen, and it's just important what we can do for the ducks.
That's it. That's it.
What do you say we go have some lunch?
You bet.
Definitely.
Just trying to take advantage of the youth season here in Oklahoma. Rustin's been hunting before for a couple of years, but he's never successfully harvested a deer yet, and just trying to get him one for this year.
Rustin, look, it's $2. It's $2, you see them? Right out there. It's like those 6 points.
Right as we tried to get on one with the gun, they decided to start fighting.
You see him?
Yeah. Not that very good though.
Wait till he turns.
What I did see was I saw I can't really see the deer in my scope because I had it at 9, but I could see the deer.
It was kind of a dad's mistake. We put the scope on 9 power instead of 3 power, and Rustin couldn't see through the scope very well. By the time we had it figured out, the deer had kind of walked off and just couldn't get on one.
He's out of frame now, Rustin. He's out of frame. He's out of the picture. Let's put it up for a second. Let's see if he comes back.
It's definitely not a wasted morning. I mean, Rustin's still got the experience of having deer in front of him, and you know, it's a mistake that all hunters make. I mean, if they say they've never made that mistake before, you know, you better start checking on them, you know. It's just one of those things. We went and shot at the range last night and turned the power up, and we forgot to turn it back down this morning. You know, I've done it myself, you know, and I've been hunting for 20 years, so it's something that happens. It's something you learn from, and you know, you get into the excitement of the moment, and you just forget about the power on the scope. You're just trying to get the scope on the gun, on the deer, you know, and it doesn't work. I mean, that's one of my passions, is sitting in the woods, and you know, especially daylight coming, and you get to see kind of God's creation come alive. And to share that with your son, you know, or your daughter, you know, it's just an amazing experience. And it's not about killing a deer or, you know, harvesting, you know, birds or whatever. It's the time that you spend out there with your kids.
The first retrievers I knew about in the state of Oklahoma is Dick Lowry had one in Oklahoma City that was out of the Audubon Kennels of St. Louis. And he promised me a pup. He brought me the pup. I fully trained that dog. And that's the only two dogs I know, and that was 39 years ago. And with that dog, I fully trained him according to the book of James Lamb Free, and took him to Texas. I was going to a Pan American shoot down there, and I saw a dog on the mailbox, and they had a dog out of King Buck, which is the dog that's on the duck stand. And we got to talking and organized a North Texas Retriever Club. Then I think they're about 37 years old now. And then we came up here and kept training this dog and working him on the geese particularly. Not that dog, but another dog. And the guys down in the area of the goose hunting country got to seeing this dog and asking me what he was and how he functioned and how you train this. And so they got to buying Labradors in particular and train them, and then they'd come to the house on Sunday and we'd have these long training binges every week. And it finally turned into the Sooner Retriever Club, which is 25 years old this year.
I'm Don Desjardins, chairman of the 1988 National. I looked at several areas before I came to Oklahoma. These grounds are absolutely superb. They have good parking and good traffic. So we're very pleased to be here. One of the things that the National is all about is the top dogs going head-to-head competition for the national championship. We have 4 basic time zones in the National, and the National rotates every 4th year back into that time zone. So different areas are selected. It's a competition of many dogs. They've competed in some 300 to 400 trials over the years. Out of that 300 or 400 trials, these are the top 85 dogs that have come out of those trials to meet here in a head-and-head, one-on-one competition for this year's national championship. With 85 contestants from all over the United States, I don't think there's a state that's not hardly represented here.
Well, we hope today's stories remind you that Oklahoma is the perfect place to explore. So no matter how you choose to enjoy our state's incredible natural world, remember that your adventure starts with Outdoor Oklahoma. Is that a wrap?
Got the need for seed.
Outdoor Oklahoma is produced by the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation and is proud to serve and be funded entirely by sportsmen and women and outdoor enthusiasts who love and appreciate all things wild in the great state of Oklahoma.